All right, guys, for everybody who's watching, we have Jason Tierney once again. I don't know the order these things are going to be going out, but we've talked to him a couple times here. Jason, we're talking about ArcadeNet, lobbies,
Yeah,
events. What is your position with the company? What do you do? And we'll get into some questions I got.
sure. My official title is Director of Events and Marketing, but I do anything that PK wants.
That's got to be pretty intense. Well, honestly, PK seems like a mellow guy, but if you don't directly work for somebody, maybe that perception could be different. I don't know. Maybe he's got that whip.
No,
I don't know.
a great company and great individual to work for. It's just one of the your title does not necessarily always dictate kind of what you do, but we're a small company. I think that's one thing that not everybody in the community is aware of. Is there's roughly I think 90 to 100 employees at AtGames across multiple continents. So we're not a huge company by any stretch of imagination when you look at other company sizes that are out there. But I think at times that maybe we give that impression to folks that we're a large company because we can react and adapt quickly. However, at times, it can be challenging because we are a small team.
Cool, cool. So we want to talk about ArcadeNet lobbies and all that stuff, like I already
Yeah.
mentioned. But ArcadeNet, it's definitely something from the first time I messed with it. Yeah, I kind of had mixed emotions on it, and I still do. Not,
Hmm.
just being honest.
Sure.
I've been impressed, and I've tested out, the multiplayer aspects of ArcadeNet on the Legends Ultimate Arcade machine, and it's been a fairly smooth experience. I haven't really run into any issues with that. But it's now being turned into a paid service. But I understand, and I don't know everything about this, so that's why I'm talking to you today. But
Sure.
I figured that there needs to be a lot more implemented for this to provide value if people are going to pay for it. And it does seem like you guys have been pushing stuff. You guys have been adding games. The lobby feature, which I would like for you to clarify a little bit more because I'm a little confused on it and would definitely
Sure.
be a service to people to really understand how that works. But seeing all the things that have been added to it, and now with the paid version, I also understand there's a free version, which I thought okay before it was free, but no, now there's a paid and then
Right.
a free version. Can you explain more like how those tiers work, the free versus the paid?
Sure, I appreciate the opportunity to answer the question, and I apologize. It's probably going to be a long answer. So, I guess at first, ArcadeNet was in free beta for just over a year. So you're right. I think when we first started playing together in a couple of multiplayer matches, it was still in the beta mode, and of course now it is into the paid subscription and the free tier. And for us, ArcadeNet is the comprehensive service that brings online gaming features that are comparable with the traditional console players like Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. So we have the multiplayer with your friends list. We've got the voice chat. We've got the large library of games that you have access to as well. So it's a lot of different services kind of combined into one. So I guess the easiest thing for me to do is kind of maybe break them down a little bit. So from the multiplayer side, we've got the friends list with voice chat, so you can connect with your friends or with strangers with games online. And all of the games that are in the library for the standard tier, they're all available for multiplayer play. So we do have a large library of games right now, and we're adding more every single week. We've got many classic Neo Geo games like Metal Slug and Samurai Showdown 2, and one of my favorites actually is Twinkle Star Sprites. It's a crazy shooter that I love playing online against folks. You and I have even kind of played that a couple of times against each other and had fun. So
Yep.
we have all these traditional kind of console features, as well as then with the new lobby system that you mentioned. So with the new lobby system, it kind of really brings together all of these separate features that existed under the beta. So I'm not really sure if a lot of folks were aware that in the beta mode that we had the ability to do multiplayer with voice chat and then the friends list. However, they were all kind of located in different areas on screen and in different menus and settings. So you really had to kind of know the arcade a little bit inside and out to have all of those features working together. But they did work together. With the lobby system, it's our first initiative to bring all the separate features together in a cohesive area and make it really easy for the customer to, or for the owners, to be able to play with friends and play with strangers. So they can simply just go to the lobby, fire up a game, select if they want to play by themselves or if they want to leave spots open for friends or strangers to join in, and just get to gaming. And like I said before, to make all that work, you really had to go to 2 or 3 different areas, and now it's all located within the lobby system, and that makes it just a much more enjoyable experience, I hope, for the each owner that's interested in playing with the online games. So that's the online component of ArcadeNet service, and also with ArcadeNet service, then there's the extensive library that you have access to. So not only do you get the library for streaming games to be able to play multiplayer with your friends, but then you have the ability to download new games and play them locally. So the first offering that we have there is the Gottlieb tables from Farsight. So we have the 22 tables from that library that folks, if they're standard tier members, they can download those games directly to their arcade device and play them locally. Of course, the Zechariah tables that will be launching here soon will also be available through ArcadeNet service. So there's going to be lots of games that folks will be able to download and play locally, as well as the streaming. So to me, ArcadeNet really is a service is really kind of 2 major branches. You have the multiplayer kind of component branch that includes the lobby area, and then you have the ability to download new content as well. So I think that we need to continue to stress to owners out there that it's not just one or the other, that it really is both. In terms of, yeah, I'm sorry.
One second. I mean, you just mentioned something that I wasn't even aware of. The pinball games, you can download them locally, and does you still have to be internet connected to load them up? Is that how that works?
Yeah, so what happens is if you're a standard tier member, you get access to the titles. You pick which ones that you want to download. You download them to your flash drive via the Flash Drive X application. Once that flash drive has the tables on there, you do need to plug the flash drive into your device that you downloaded them on. Be connected to your ArcadeNet server account. It kind of works like the coin ops and some of the other features where you only have to be connected every 5 uses. But yeah, you can actually download those tables directly to your flash drive, and then when you play them, you're playing them as if they were already locally built into the original board with the built-in game. So you're not streaming those
Okay.
Farsight pinball tables. You're playing them locally as if they were built in. Now the cloud pinball tables that are also a part of ArcadeNet, you are streaming those from the AtGames servers to your arcade device, but the Farsight ones are played locally.
Okay, that's cool because I know I seen that, but I thought, oh, this is being streamed, and I'm glad you clarified that because I actually didn't know. So
No, I'm
cool.
glad we could clear that up. And the same with the Zechariah tables when they're available through the ArcadeNet service as well. You'll download those directly to your flash drive and play them locally as well. So there's another 105 tables that will be available through that library.
Okay. Well, I think you might have been like in the middle of a thought before I interrupted you. I don't
Yeah,
know if you still have that in your mind,
no,
what
I
you were going to
do.
say.
I do. So there's the different tiers that we have for ArcadeNet service. There's the free service. You kind of mentioned there was free before, and then there's free now. What's the difference?
Yeah.
So when we went to the subscription service and then the paid model, we have the paid tier, which you have the option of the $20 a month or 6 months for $60, which makes it $10 a month. And then you have the free tier. So if you're not really sure if it's a service that would be a good value for you, we do have a way for you to engage with the service at a free level. There are some differences. So if you can allow me to walk you through really quickly, I kind
Yeah.
of just want to share with the community what those differences are. So essentially, number one, with the paid tier, you're going to get unlimited streaming time. So no matter what game fits your fancy, whether it's pinball or whether it's arcade games, you can stream them unlimited. There's no cap on it whatsoever. On the free side, you're going to get 1 hours of Windows streaming, which covers the Windows cloud streaming pinball, and then you have 2 hours of streaming time for the arcade game. So there are some limitations there in that respect for the free side. There is no access to the Farsight and then the soon to be available Zechariah pinball tables on the free side as well. So you only get access to the 5 arcade games from the full library that the standard members get, and then you have the complete access to the cloud pinball tables, but zero access to the download and play pinball tables. So big difference there. From the multiplayer component on the free side, owners are going to get to experience that with one other player, so two total players. On the paid side, the standard side, you're going to have up to four, so total. So yourself and three other folks can be in the same chat or play games together. Also, with the free tier, like I mentioned there just a second ago, you have the five games that come from the full library from the standard side to be able to engage with, and we rotate those games out monthly. So if you do stay on the free side, you will see a new set of five games at the beginning of every month. So that is kind of cool. And then so the paid tier has full access to all the games, and we're adding new games weekly. So we just added two new games this yesterday on firmware release day. We'll have new games that we'll release every week, traditionally on Wednesday firmware day. Other than that, the biggest difference would be that the paid tier, we're going to have some leaderboard events and contests that are going to be strictly for just those customers and those owners that are participating on the paid side. So there'll be a little bit better prizes, and those will only be accessible to owners that are members of the paid service. So just another kind of reason to jump on the paid side and be able to participate in those events.
Cool. So, with the free side, I don't know if you mentioned it. Does that work with the lobbies as well?
Yeah, so the free side, you get the multiplayer, you get the voice chat, you get your friends list. It's just the limitation of how many you can have in a single gaming session. So the free side, you're not limited to any of those features at all. That's a great question. I appreciate you asking.
Cool. I mean, you've covered a lot. I mean, almost pretty much everything I wanted to discuss. But playing these games on ArcadeNet, I'm definitely on the arcade machine. I'm going to take a look at the pinball side of things, which, like I said, I haven't messed with yet. I've been playing that on the pinball machine, but
Sure.
it's options, right? That's the
It's
main thing.
options. There's a lot of folks that have the reservations for pinball, and they're waiting patiently for that to arrive. But if you've got that pinball itch that you just want to scratch, your Legends family devices are a great way to play pinball. I wasn't meaning to talk about this at the moment, but I do have on my desk at all times my gamer mini, and of course I've got my pinball buttons on the side because at any given moment I want to play some pinball. So whether I'm on my big screen or my 24-inch screen for the ALU, to me, playing pinball in the when I want to, where I want to, it's a great option. And the games run really, really well. You've got the leaderboard support, and then of course with the cloud pinball, then you can actually invite friends in and play, or have strangers come in and play. And I always enjoy that multiplayer component aspect. To me, it was the fun part of the arcades was going in and putting your quarter there, kind of calling your line, your spot in the line to be able to play next, and standing behind the guys that were playing, and getting into the action and talking trash back and forth. And that was kind of missing when I just had the arcade at home by myself. And while I can talk a little bit of trash with my wife and my son, it's not as fun as going online and connecting with the community. So for me, the ArcadeNet service is something that I really find of great value, because I can play a lot of arcade games offline by myself. And while that's extremely fun, I'm the type of person that likes to be engaged with others. So I have a little bit of that social bug myself. So I do like to just kind of, when I have time to game, go online and play against folks, uh, and share that love of the same hobby. So I'm glad that this is something that we've been able to bring in a really comprehensive way to the community, because to me, this is really the Xbox Live of the home arcade space.
Yeah, and I think that's what sets you guys apart, not just with the ArcadeNet stuff, but the whole online integrations with everything, the firmware updates and all that. It's different than what else is out there. So something I appreciate, and I know a lot of other people do as well, seeing that, hey, AtGames, they used to do these little consoles, and now they're doing these arcade machines. And like you said, the thing of playing with people. Back in the day, we had arcades, putting those quarters up and waiting in line to get our turn to either get whooped or dish out the whoopings. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's we're missing that now, even more so with all the crap that's going on in the world. I mean, arcades are a very rare thing. They still exist, but not the way they did 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah,
Um, y-
it's sad to hear that a lot of them are having to close. Hopefully it won't be long term. But yeah, speaking to that, playing with others, we did a survey last year that roughly, I think, 81% of the community that responded said that they play their Legends devices with family and friends. And in a COVID-stricken world, if your family and friends can't come over, then the best way to connect with those family and friends was ArcadeNet. So really, positive to see that folks were able to at least enjoy their hobby with others in that capacity. And with ArcadeNet, we can also bring many more games, like I said, down the line, and not just those classic retro arcade titles. Of course, with the Indie Cloud Pinball, we're able to do, pinball tables that have been released, recently, and the same thing with the other kinds of games that we'll bring to ArcadeNet. So be on the lookout for, modern games, from different publishers, indie publishers, to appear on ArcadeNet as well. We have that capability.
That's definitely cool. So, I mean, you've covered pretty much everything I wanted to discuss, but playing, I've messed with ArcadeNet a bit, and yeah, with the free version, it's kind of like a sample, like you get a taste, and that's cool. You don't have to commit. People can try it out. Like I said, I was kind of on the fence, a little mixed on certain things, but with all the additions and whatnot, some people may find value in that. So it's a neat service, and I've said it. I like the service, and really hoping to see more being added to it. And with all the stuff that you guys have been implementing, and the addition of games, and one of the things I didn't know you were going to mention about the possibility of bringing indie, like newer stuff. That's kind of cool. I mean, I can't wait to see what happens with that. With ArcadeNet, I mostly play the Neo Geo titles on there. When I first looked at ArcadeNet, I was like, oh, is this a Neo Geo setup? What do we got going on here? But I mean, there's more to it than Neo Geo. But that's been
Right.
my favorite stuff to play. I love Neo Geo.
And I think that you make a great point, Ron, that there's titles out there for everybody. You like Neo Geo titles, so there was titles that spoke to you. So there's platform games, there's shooters, there's co-op, there's player versus player, there's alternating turn, there's racing games. So we really are trying to find multifaceted genres to be able to have something that really kind of speaks to everybody that's out there in the games that they like to play. So that's something that we'll continue to try to work on in the future as well. And from a value perspective too, I want to try to even call out some comparisons to, just for instance, the Gottlieb tables. So we just mentioned through the NOD special that you can purchase those tables to download it outside of the ArcadeNet service, and it's $100 value. If you think of just if you go in at the 6 month, $60 value, essentially you got 10 months to be able to use those, to be able to access those tables. And once you start adding in all the other content and the Zechariah tables and kind of what you would have to spend to go out and acquire those tables, for a lot of folks, the ArcadeNet service is the better value because they can kind of try out and see what they like and what they don't like before they make a permanent investment by going out and purchasing the tables to own permanently. So I think for a lot of folks that are interested in maybe trying out different games or pinball, if they're not into pinball, ArcadeNet service is a great way for them to make a smaller investment, try out the services and the games to see what they like, what they don't like, and then decide later on if this is something they want to purchase or stay with it just in the ArcadeNet service. So I think there's going to be a lot of folks in the community that will use ArcadeNet for that as well.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, it just kind of popped in my head. It reminds me of like Xbox Game Pass. You pay that. You're paying for that, and those games, you don't own them, but you're getting access to it as long as you have it. And that's actually, I have kids, and that saved me a fortune. Um,
Sure.
letting them play those games that way instead of buying them a $60 game every month or whatever. They have access to a bunch of stuff, so it kind of reminds me of that in a way, especially with the pinball stuff, more so than anything. But
Yeah.
but that's definitely cool. The one thing I wanted to ask, like I was saying, I play mostly Neo Geo stuff when I am on there. Do you guys collect data as far as like what the most popular titles are on ArcadeNet? Like, are people playing a specific game more than anything else, a specific genre, anything like that? Are you guys keeping an eye?
Yeah. So yes, we're keeping an eye. Trust me, I'm a huge privacy advocate
Well,
myself.
you guys don't have cameras built in staring at us while
No,
we're
there's
playing.
no, there's
Okay, all right. Just wanted to make
yeah,
sure.
there's no 1984 Big Brother things like that going on. But from the server side of things, because our ArcadeNet, a lot of what's happening is running through our servers. We
Yeah.
definitely can pick out some data. So Specifically to your question in terms of games most played, absolutely. We are keeping track of those, and actually what we've done is that within the lobby system, there's a menu filter that you can actually choose most played, and then what that is going to grab is actually from the server data the games that are most actively being played. So we are tracking that data and then using it in a way to bring it back to the owners, so you can kind of see what games people are most playing, so you can kind of just tilt that filter and then maybe find a game a little bit quicker that way that you can hop right into. So we're definitely taking a look at that data for those types of purposes, but then it also helps us make better decisions down the road in the future. We want to see how folks are using the platform, what features they're using, what features they may not be using that we thought that they would use, and that allows us to help maybe alter that future roadmap of what we want to release future wise into the future. And then also in terms of content, what IPs and what games and pinball tables do folks really want to play, and so by looking at what folks are currently playing, that kind of helps us make decisions about future content as well.
Cool. That was pretty much what my follow up was going to be. Do you guys utilize that for decisions? So there you go. That I don't have to
Yeah,
ask that question now, but I, I think that you've covered pretty much everything. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more we could talk for hours on end
sure.
concerning all this.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you about it, and I just want to say, once again to all the community and the fans out there, please, check it out, the free side. If you like it, join up for a month or for 6 months, and get in there and start challenging folks to some online game sessions. We have some new features and events that we'll be using the lobby specifically, and there'll be some announcements coming out shortly about some of those things that will be coming out in the near future. But really excited to myself personally play against as many folks out there in the lobbies as we can. And I'm on the social media posts for Facebook quite a bit for the company, and always in my post with see on the leaderboard. So I guess I'll end my interview with the same, and I just hope to see everybody on the leaderboards.
Cool. Well, really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Giving
sir.
us more of a inside understanding of how everything works. Like I said, I don't know everything. You kind of clarified a bunch of things for me as well. So very very appreciated.
Thank you for the opportunity, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.